even though my birthday was a couple days ago, I am continuing my birthday tradition of going to see a movie. It might not be a double feature, but going to see a movie for it. And tonight, I am going to go see a movie about a bear hocked up or high on cocaine. That's right, I'm seeing Cocaine Bear within the next few minutes. Now, I'm not really expecting anything from this movie. I mean, I'm expecting it to be fun, tons of gore, tons of bear violence, and just a fun time. I'm not expecting the story to be anything grand because, let's be honest, it's called Cocaine Bear. What more do you really need or want than the humor and the dread and the violence that comes from that? Now, I don't know if this is going to be the case, but part of my brain is like, I wonder if there's going to be anybody high watching this movie. Maybe I need to keep my eyes out for that. But hopefully all it is just people there to have a good time, smile, laugh, because the last experience I had wasn't that good of one. But with that being said, I'll let you know what I think of this movie when I come out. I am predicting it's going to take the number 3 spot for best movie of the year so far, but we're only in February, so it probably won't stay there. So, yeah, for Unedited Reviews, this is Cocaine Bear. You would think in a movie called Cocaine Bear that the bear on cocaine would be the most dangerous creature, but it's not. There is definitely something that's a lot worse in this movie than a cocaine bear. And that's all I'm going to say. Now, right off the bat, there were a few things or a few images that caught my eye as I was watching and triggered other thoughts in my head. And these are the ones I'm going to share with you first. First and foremost, at times, this movie felt like Jaws a little bit. And it worked. It really worked when it went the route of, we're not going to show you the full-on bear, but we're going to give you that horror of where is he, just show you glimpses of things like a paw here, an ear there, maybe at the backside of a bear there. Now, they don't do that for the whole movie. And there are other times where it works really well that you just see the bear. But I kind of wish that they had gone the Jaws route a little bit more throughout the film. You know, give us more of that, where is he? What exactly are we looking for? What exactly does this look like? I think that would have made the movie a little more edgier seat, a little bit more thriller, perhaps. Then the other two images that came to my mind, all I'm going to say is I thought Beauty and the Beast at one point, and I thought Tarzan at one point. And these are the Disney versions that I'm thinking of. That's all I'm going to say. When you see the movie, I think you'll realize what I'm talking about. Because, yes, I will say right now, I do recommend this movie. But that being said, the performances. I thought everyone did a real good job. There was really no standout. I'm going to say everyone got equal, for the most part, equal screen time. Yes, some obviously got more than others for reasons. But nobody really felt like they overstayed their welcome, or nobody really ever felt forced down your throat. I went into this movie thinking, oh, there's going to be a lot of bear fodder. You know, there's going to be a lot of characters, a lot of people there that are just there for the bear to kill. But there's really not. And that's one of the problems I had at the beginning of this movie. You get a bunch of this cast and these characters, and you're like, how do these all relate? It feels like they're jumping back and forth, and you can't focus. And at first, I was like, can we focus, please? Can we maybe cut one of these stories and focus on other characters, or focus on these main characters? Eventually, you do realize how they all come together, how they fit into the story, why they're there. But that would be the only thing that I would say, story-wise, slows it down a little bit for me. Because the story in general is fun. It's entertaining, and I found myself laughing. and just looking for these people to die, looking for all the instances where, okay, what's the bear going to do this time? How are they mutually, how's it mutually going to maim this human? And how's this person going to die? And some people might say that's a sicko in the head. But honestly, that's what we go to these movies for. I mean, do you go to a Halloween movie, a Michael Myers movie, and go to see everyone get away from Michael? Or do you watch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie just to watch everyone get away from Freddy? No, you don't. It's the same case here. But man, some of the way people die is just hilarious. And sometimes I actually felt bad laughing at it. But the story is pretty straightforward. I mean, there are times where you're like, maybe you want to know a little bit more about this person. But the more I'm thinking about it, you get just enough information that you need. It doesn't need to go too far in depth into characters' backstory, into the relationships, why they're doing the things they do, because it's not that type of movie. You get what you need, you get the bare minimum, and then the movie keeps going, and it works. Like I said, everyone in this movie works as far as I'm concerned. They do what they're supposed to do, they play their characters, and I had a good time with them. And some of them, surprisingly, I actually ended up really caring about. And I found myself getting nervous when things might start to happen to them or when they get in situations. And I did not expect that from this movie. Now, I didn't get choked up or emotional, but I got more into it than I thought I would. And the story does flow. It never really feels like it slows down. I mean, like I said, at the beginning, yeah, it feels like it's a little slow because you're like, okay, how are all these people related to the story, or why do we care about all of them? And at parts, it slows down a little bit with the editing. I felt like I'm watching this group of people and enjoying what's going on, and then they cut to another group. I'm like, wait, so I think the editing could have been done a little bit better, which is weird because I don't usually pick up on things like that. But with that being said, like I said, the story is solid. It moves along. It's just over an hour and a half. So you're not invested in it for a long, long time. You know, it's not like Avatar or Avengers Endgame where you're sitting there for 3 or 4 hours, you know, just watching this happen. So it's a good length. And visually, the bear obviously is CG. Now, I do wonder, I'm pretty sure some of them was probably practical effects, like when you just see a paw or something. But I'll be honest, that didn't take me out of the movie. The only thing it kind of did was, you see the bear at times and it's like, you know, moving because it's high or just doing weird things because it's high. And you're kind of like, oh, I want to give bear a big hug to bear. But in the back of your mind, you're like, no. This is a real bear. Remember, this is supposed to be a real bear. It's a bear you do not want to hug. These are fierce creatures, and this one in particular will kill you. So, I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it worked. It did. The bear was what it needed to be. It gave us a story that they were trying to tell. So it worked. Overall, for me, it worked. Like I said, obviously it was CG for the most part, and it's pretty clear it's CG. But it didn't really faze me much. Now, I have to say, the score, right off the bat, I loved the music that got us into this movie. I don't know what the song was. I can't remember it. I just know I was bobbing my head as I was hearing it. You know, I was bobbing to the music. My foot was tapping a little bit. And so, yeah, the score was great. And everything worked. The lighting was good. The one thing that I will say is it was kind of not as believable, especially closer to the end, how quickly the sun went down. I mean, it's not one of those things where it's day, now it's night. It's not that quick of a change, but it's still quick enough that you're like, it's pushing it a little bit. As for, I'm not really sure what else there is to talk about with this. I mean, the story, like I said, is good. It moves along. I want to actually do more research on this event. I'm sure it was not exactly like this. I'm sure it was different than this. You know, they probably put more violence into the movie than in real life. Who knows? Maybe there was more violence. But it definitely makes me want to at least do a little bit more research on this event and see what happened. I will say one of my favorite characters is actually, I'm not going to say she's a main character, but it's the park ranger. And that's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of characters in here that you might think should be the comedy relief, but the park ranger is definitely the comedy relief. And there's just certain things she does, certain things that happen to her that it's just like, I couldn't help but laugh. I really laughed at her. And like I said, the story is actually more touching than I expected it to be. Did we spend a little too much time with the humans? My gut and my instinct is to say yes. Because you go to a Transformers movie for the Transformers. You go to this movie for the Cocaine Bear. But honestly, I feel like it probably wouldn't have had the impact it did if we didn't have these moments just with the characters, just with the humans. Because, sure, I said going in, I just want to see a Cocaine Bear go crazy and kill people. But I think it was actually better because we got to know some of the characters and we got to know these archetypes or who these people were. Now, I will also say some of the lines were cheesy. They were really cheesy. There's one line, I think for me, the character that had the most cheesy lines was a police captain or lieutenant. I forget what rank or title he held. But some of his lines, I was just like, okay, wow. I could hear that a policeman actually saying them, but I was just like, ugh. He mentioned at one point, he talked about, you know, this is why we join the force. This is why we do what we do. And he's laying everything out. And it's like, oh God, okay, can we just move along? Move along. When you see it, if you see it, you'll know the part I'm talking about. And yeah, I like the movie. I had a good time with it. Was it as good as I was expecting it to be? Yes and no. Because right now, yes, it does take that third spot. Of all the movies I've seen this year, it would take that number 3 spot of my third favorite movie of the year. Again, we got a whole another 10 months, and this movie, I can almost guarantee you won't make the top 10. But it's a solid movie. I will say I do have a hard time necessarily recommending going to the theater to see it. But I would definitely recommend watching it at some time. Now, it is rated R, and it's rated R for a reason. I do not recommend that kids see this movie. And I did mention, I wonder if anybody would be stoned when they see this movie. At least in my group, it didn't seem like anybody was. There were people talking a little bit during the movie, but they weren't disruptive, and that was the important thing. So, all that being said, what ranking would I give this movie? I think it's pretty obvious that I would give it a higher ranking. But I think I'm going to give it a sidekick, because it's not a movie that I'm like, you have to go out and see it right now. Go in an afternoon, pay a matinee price to see it. It doesn't have anything that it's like you have to see this on the big screen. But it is a movie that I recommend you see at some point. Again, if you're of age, or for some reason you just say, sure, kids can see it, no problem. Because, I mean, it's rated R, but it's not rated R for sex, and it's not rated R because of sex. It's rated R for the violence, for the swearing, for the drugs, primarily for the drugs. So, yeah, I would not recommend taking kids to go see it. But overall, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of good laughs in it. There's a lot of times I smiled. I thought I'm going to call it side stories, the stories of the characters that got involved with the bear, that was good. That was better than I expected. But it didn't really give me exactly what I was expecting. I thought I'd be laughing a whole lot more than I was. I felt like, I don't know. I mean, I think that's really what it was. It didn't live up to, I guess, certain ideas that I had in my head based on what other people had said. But it did do better than, it did other things better than I was expecting. It's definitely not one of the movies, or probably not going to be one of the movies that I keep going back and back and back and back and back to. But it is a movie I probably will watch again at some point. And I have to say this. There's a character, I think it's right in the beginning. There's a French couple that appears right in the beginning of the movie. And he looks so much like one of my buddies that I knew. I mean, every time he pops on, I got distracted because I'm like, that looks like one of my friends. I'm like, I didn't think he was in this movie. And obviously he's not. But that was another point where I did get taken out of the movie, because I'm like, hey, it's so-and-so. But yeah. But I've told you what I think. What are your thoughts? By the time you've seen this movie, by the time you see this video, have you seen the movie? If so, what did you think? Am I overhyping it? Or was it better than what I'm saying to you is the best movie of the year so far? If you haven't seen it, what are your expectations? Do you want to see this movie? Has my opinion changed your mind at all? Whatever your thoughts, don't forget to comment down below and hit that like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. I'm trying till the end of the year. By the end of the year, I'm trying to get 100 subscribers. Will I do something special? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not a guy that will promise something and not deliver. But I would really appreciate your help. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It will help me to do more videos, put out more content, more reviews like this, some more nerdy videos, and maybe try something new. There's plenty of good stuff on here. At least I think there's plenty of good stuff on here. So remember, go ahead, click that subscribe button, help me out, leave a comment or a like. And remember, here at Fandom University, what we always say: enjoy what you love, read what you love, and let's all work for a better fandom. I'll see you next time.